So, how is it done? I'm going to show you now how it's done, and I'm going to use another app that's provided free by Microsoft, which is called Clipchamp. Now it is provided free, but it may not be automatically loaded on your PC, so you may have to download it. And if that's the case, then just do a search on the internet for Clipchamp and you'll find there's a download. It is true to say that there is both a free version and a paid-for version. The paid-for version is part of Office 365. I'm never quite sure now whether it's called Office 365 or Microsoft 365, but the current version. I do have that, and therefore there may well be elements that I will include that are not in the free version, but I hope that everything I do will be in the free version. There are other apps that are free. Some are more complicated than others, and perhaps in a separate video I'll show you one or two others. In particular, there's an app called DaVinci, which is free, but quite complicated. It takes quite a lot of getting your head around, which is why I haven't used it. I've stuck with the Clipchamp, even though the Clipchamp is a bit buggy and certainly not anything like as good as DaVinci. But we'll stick with that one and then maybe look at others. They all operate in much the same way, and they all have many of the same features, so it's not a bad idea to start with something simple like Clipchamp and then maybe migrate onto a more sophisticated tool. So without more ado, we'll actually I'm going to assume that you've downloaded Clipchamp. I'm going into Clipchamp and we'll start from the basics. So here we are with Clipchamp. Clipchamp. I keep calling it Clipchamp. Clipchamp loaded, but in the home screen. These are a sort of history of things I've done earlier, but the important thing for us is we're going to create a new video. So I'll select the option, and it takes us through to a blank edit area. The first thing to do is to import the files that I'm interested in. Now I'm interested in the two separate video files. So if I go to the folder where I've stored them, I've actually put them in one that's specific to this project. There are some others which are stuff that I've already shown you or I've used in order to prepare the stuff that I've already shown you. But I'm going to look for the basic message and the side shot. They're the two recordings that I was working with. So let's open those. So they're parallel, so I need to run them as parallel. So I'm going to put the basic message first. So there it is. And what's important in Clipchamp is that you see the video. The audio is integral, and in fact it's showing audio as it were, but it's actually part and parcel of this video here. We can separate them, we may have to. I'm now going to do the slide shot, but you can actually add it on at the end, but I'm actually going to bring it down as a parallel video. Now the first problem that we have is that they're slightly out of sync. If I play it, you'll hear the sound from both of the settings and they're obviously not quite right. Listen.
Hi, this is about the video about making a video.
They're almost together, but not quite. Okay. The other problem is that I can't actually see the sound, which I need to see, because I've got to first of all move them so that the sound is correct. I'm not really bothered about the sound. I could actually mute one of them, but we would then find that when we go to the other, that the lips will be slightly out of sync, and we need to keep the sound in sync. So I'm going to select the top one first of all, go to audio and detach the audio. So I now have, in fact, if I right click on this one and go to audio, it will give me an option to unmute it. So it's actually saying the audio is muted, and the audio is muted because the video is muted because the audio is separate. So these two belong together. I'm now going to do the same thing for the second video. So there we have them. So we have the two sounds, and I need to make sure that I do the video and the audio together. So I'm going to zoom in a little right at the beginning. So let's move back to the beginning, and I'm going to zoom in. And I want to zoom in because you're going to see these little blips of sound here. You can see this one is slightly different from the other one. So let me move just before it, and you will see that they are the sound of me clapping. And you can hear one clap slightly after the other. Okay, so that's why I did the clap. I did the clapping so that I'd have a mechanism of matching the two up, so that I can get them exactly matched. It's not easy with Clipchamp because Clipchamp doesn't, it actually has a mind of its own. So I'm going to select both the video and the sound, and I'm going to try and move it so they're up to match. I'll move this here so it's on the clap of the bottom one, and then I'm going to move this so it matches as closely as I can. Now can you see Clipchamp has actually moved it slightly further to the right, I think. Maybe not, maybe. Let's try it let's see what that sounds like. Move forward a little bit. Can you hear it's still getting one clap just before the other? So I'm going to move this pair back a little, and it's very difficult to do it because Clipchamp will drop it slightly differently. Let's see if that's made it. That's close enough. There is a very, very slight difference, but I don't think you'll notice the difference when you're actually seeing the video. Okay. Now we only want one of the two sounds, and in fact I think the bottom sound is better than the top sound. So I am now going to mute this audio here. And the only way I know of doing it is to turn the volume right down so there's zero volume on this audio. Okay, so we're only going to be hearing this one, but I'm not going to delete that one. I'm going to leave it in, but on zero volume. So from now on, we can go back to the beginning, and I'm just going to select a series of locations. Okay, so I'm not saying anything there, so that's the point where I can split it. Now actually there's a menu option. I can right click a menu, but if I hit the S key it simply splits whatever's selected. Let me undo that. Let me select all four now because I want to split both of them, both the audio and the video at the same time. So we split. Press S and you can see it split all of them. If I move this on a little bit you can see the gap between them. So let's do it after the clap. Let's just see what happens with the clap. Now there was a nice break there, so let's go back to the clap and we can do a split there. Okay, let's move on, find another slot. Okay, bit of a gap there. I'm doing this almost at random. Not a good idea. I'll zoom out in fact so I can see what I'm doing now. Not a good idea, but I don't want to waste too much time. Let's do, that's going to be front, back, front. So let's do a back one fairly close. Let's see what happens.
You'll notice when you watch an interview on television, you'll see that they don't simply have a camera.
Right, this is rather a long do, so let's let's stop there and do a split. That's going to be quite a long do. we'll have an even longer one here.
In order to be able to produce,
Let's, okay, nice hesitation there. So we'll go on there, move on. So we're front, back, front, back, front, back. So this will be a back. Let's see what happens. Okay, there was a hesitation there. Move back a little bit, split, and we'll do one more. So front, back, front, back, front, back, front. Well, let's leave it. Okay, let's leave it at that. So hopefully that will take us all the way through. Now, the one other thing I want to do. So I need to now get rid of certain videos. So we're going to do front. So the back one I don't need, so I'll get rid of it. We're going to use that one, so I can get rid of that one. We're going to use that one, so I get rid of that one. We're going to use that one, so I get rid of that one. And I need to get rid of the front ones that match the existing back ones. So get rid of that one, get rid of that one, get rid of that one. Now I can leave them like that and save them, but it would be neater if I do this, and I want to make sure that they're all mapped up together. Notice that little purple line that's coming in when I put them together, and I need that because that will help me with my transitions. So I've now got moving from one to the other, but it can be quite abrupt. Oops. So if you watch,
making a video. I'm going to do something.
So it's a very sudden switch from one to the other, and it would be nice to have it slightly more less abrupt. So we use what's called a transition. Now I've used this crossfade. I'm not that keen on it, but I've used it once, so let's do it. So I'm going to drop it here, and in each of the transitions, and you can see the transitions are looking to be dropped in the gaps that I've actually created. Okay, so there are the transitions. So hopefully everything will look all right.
A video about making.
Notice that the lips are sinking. Nice transition.
A little bit strange.
And the lips are still sinking.
At some point.
And we've got single sound. We're not changing the sound. If I'd used the sound that's specific to each of the videos, you would have noticed a change in the quality of sound as it changes the videos, which is why I've made the effort to use one of the audio tracks and only one of the audio tracks, even though the other one is showing it's actually 0 volume. So I'm done. So I can now save this. I'm actually going to add a little intro that I did, and you'll see that in the final version, but it's not obvious in this one, and I want to save this as an integral video, and then I'll add the other one in front. And it's because if I try and add the other one here, I have to fiddle around with all of these, move them over to the right, and I found that doing that upsets the actual connection of them, and so they go out of sync. So I'm going to save this one as is, and then I'll just work with 2 files. This one with all the different things all now in one file, and the other one that I've already created as an introduction. So let's export it. Export is the same as saving. It's their term for saving. It actually thinks that there's the gaps aren't right. I'm going to continue anyway. I'm happy with that. I'm going to choose a reasonably high quality video, and away it goes. Now this takes a long time. It's not that long, but you're sitting there watching it, so I will actually cut this video a little bit when I do the long-term video, so that you won't see the whole thing, so you won't be sitting there waiting. So now we're done. You'll see that the video is gone, the project is gone. I can return to it by keep editing, but I'm not that bothered. I've done what I needed to do. I'm going to close Clipchamp. As I said to you, I'm going to add an intro, and I am going to get rid of a little bit of the saving process so that you're not sitting there watching it, the blue line just grow. and you will see the finished product.